So if you've ever watched the show Dexter, this is very much what we call a surprise motherfucker moment. Because he did not expect that. Absolutely not. Fucking just... Jesus Christ. 733 is looking to be mighty spicy so far, with a lot of new heroes and strategies forming in a very rapid amount of time. In this video, I'm combing over a gameplay by Gunnar as position 4 Clinkz, a hero that has recently been reworked, and really looking to shape up strongly as the meta evolves. If you like my Dota content, I'd love a follow and a thumbs up here on YouTube. I've been working hard at putting stuff out for a while now, and your support means a lot. Let's get to it. Alright, let's go. So, we have Gunnar here on Clinkz, pretty much as promised. And the reason why I chose Clinkz, of course this video is, I might already say that this is going to be a rather rambly and long explanation of like what's going on. The reason why I chose Clinkz initially is he just got a rework and there's a lot of interesting things I wanted to talk about regarding Clinkz. And Gunnar actually is one of the few people right now, pros, that play him as a position 4. And having experimented with him myself, I do think it's his best role. And I definitely think people are currently sleeping on him. So here we are. So we're going to have a bit of a rough start initially here because Gunnar is about to get a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, reworked hero, very interesting. Clinkz is definitely... He's in such an interesting spot right now. It's like his 10th on 10th rework at this point. Like him and Odie, you know, they're competing. So he's going to get hooked and he is going to die. And one of the interesting parts is he's actually going to have a very bad start of the game, which only makes it all the more impressive that he actually proceeds to really do well later in the game. So he's going to respawn. And we're really gonna, like, mid-game is where it's gonna be really interesting, and I'm gonna be talking a lot about that in particular. So, he is going to use Tar Bomb to play aggressively against Elder Titan, and this is pretty much what you do with Clinkz now. It's basically his replacement for Searing Arrow. Gonna play Sentry and Ward there. Essentially, this is your way of harassing. It's not an orb attack anymore, so it's technically not as annoying as before. And I might as well mention this, if I quickly pause the video. If Clinkz ends up being something you see a lot in your pubs, one of the ways to deal with it for sure is buy a stick. It's a bit like Batrider with stick guitar and the napalm just being spammed over and over again. It's kind of what Clinkz has to do. And pretty much no one is doing it. I'm playing Clinkz a bit myself and no one is doing it. So, you know, if Clinkz becomes popular, then it will very quickly become just buy stick against him. That doesn't mean he's bad, it just means like it's something you really should be consider doing because it's crazy value. Because it is how he plays the lane. Without Tar Bomb, he doesn't work. So we're gonna see ET here in particular be very, very nasty because like look at the damage he does, it's fucking crazy. This hero is also cracked as hell right now. He's just gonna run Gunnar down and pretty much kill him. So that's the second time he dies, which is sad. It's also worth mentioning that the Arc Warden we see here is Yuragi. So, you know, high-level player. See here. Oops, camera's going a bit crazy. And he's going to respawn. Standard stuff. And again, laning stage here initially isn't going to be too interesting. He needs a few levels, Mr. Clinkz, before he really comes online. Speed up a little bit. But what's going to be really, really interesting is how he basically starts putting points in Deathpact, which used to be his ult at one point, but now it's not. And you got to be careful right now because like picking Clinkz as a 4, people think you're griefing, even if you're not. It's very, very potent on lane. We'll see in just a moment. So he is going to skill Deathpact. Now, one thing that's really, really interesting about Clinkz right now is that kind of nobody has like a definitive way of building him. I have seen people putting only 1 point in Deathpact. I've seen people like put more points in Strafe. Gunnar's basically gonna put a lot of points in Deathpact and we'll go over it as we come to it. But just know that there's no definitive build right now of like, this is just how you build Clinkz, which is cool. And it's also because he's new, people are still figuring him out, which is a whole bit more reason why I'm doing this video. I mean, see, Elder Titan's gonna keep being annoying. Also worth mentioning, it's only his own damage here. Very scary arcs, powerful. Yeah, the initial laning stage here is very, very rough. It is a bounty 3, of course. He's going to go Vanguard, so he's going to be tanky. And we're going to see that play into Gunnar's hands later. And you can see here we get to see the harassment ability that Clinkz actually has. Now, of course, like I said, the downside is that it's no longer an orb attack, and that matters because orb attacks, for an example, Silencer's orb has an orb attack. If you use those, you don't draw creep aggro, which is huge because that basically means you can harass without destroying the current creep equilibrium and without, messing with last hits. And that basically makes your harassment game very good. That's what Clinkz could do before, and he can't do it anymore. Again, doesn't make him bad, it just means that's no longer an option because his searing arrow is basically tied to Tar Bomb now. It's basically what has happened to the hero. Let me see here. Now, something interesting is going to happen here. And this is one of the things we really need to bite into with Clinkz. So he has Deathpact, and one of the reasons that Clinkz is a very good 4 is that he is able to eat creeps based on which level he has Deathpact in. And this is extremely good because he can mess with creep pulls, which is massive because that's still a core part of the game. Being able to instantly eat a creep is massive. And it heals Clinkz, it gives him more health, and it just makes it obnoxious because, well, pulling just 2 creeps isn't really enough. So that really gives him a lot. It also gives him a method, kind of like Mirana or Pudge. Not that you would preferably want, especially 5. You can play them as 4. But you can see it's difficult. Not that you would want to necessarily play them that way, but you can basically get XP while you're not draining XP from your lane partner that way. Let's see here. People play Pudge 4. I'm not a fan of it, but, Mirana's fine. You can also play Pudge 4. Just don't play 5, please. As you can see here, same thing. He's even going to snap a courier. And this is really annoying because you certainly can't just pull 1. You have to stack it. And we'll see him transition this kind of playstyle later into the game. Slow and steady. And again, he's just annoying. He's just really annoying. And again, no stick on Arc or Elder Titan for that matter. Really, so they're not generating anything. And you are gonna get hit by at least 10 tower bombs in lane. He also has, of course, Blood Grenade, because it's really good for laning. But yeah, what we'll see here is that, yeah, the lane is initially hard and Bounty died, which is bad. But he is building a Vanguard, and this affords Clinkz the luxury. Gunnar can basically go in and not really farm, but he can leave the lane and do other stuff, which is very powerful for him to be able to just do that. So very smart by Bounty. Let's see here. Just a bit of laning. Again, nothing special this game. Speed up a little bit even. Let's see here, eat 1 more. And again, he times it, so now there's still no camp here. He could have stacked, but he times it just so now there's just no camp. Again, we're going to see him hit here from the side. Yeah, we're also going to see more and more Elder Titan. That stuff's super annoying for sure. And here we see... Notice how much damage Clinkz is going to do here. Very powerful, very annoying. Blood Grenade too. With slightly better positioning, he could most definitely have killed, but he might have put himself in the problems. And he does know, I say a kill, there's a Healing Lotus. You gotta be careful. And here we have his first item. And this is also a thing that's happening right now. People figure out how do we actually build Clinkz. So the most common build, regardless of the way you basically lane him, seems to be Medallion, Valor, that's Crest of Valor, and then Phylactery. It gives him a lot of mana regen, and it's really good. And here we just see him rushing Medallion, and here we go. The damage starts coming in, and he can buff his own damage, and he can buff bounty damage really well. He's got to be careful, but Clinkz is also surprisingly tanky. That's why I say he can play very aggressively. We are going to see him do that later in the game as well. Alright, 6 minutes. That's when Lotus spawns. He wants that because Elder Titan had that. That's probably what dismayed him for attempting the kill. He could probably have traded himself there. Let's see here. He might want to go for this too. Scouts what's available, and again, he's being annoying. Let's see, he sees that, and it's free. And this is the interesting aspect. See what happened here? We're actually going to rewind here. So Gunnar has put 2 points Okay, also, we're going to be scrolling around a bit. Like, Clinkz has a tendency to disappear there's a lot of bugs in the replay system. So Gunnar has put 2 levels in Deathpact, which is interesting because the build I've seen the most on Clinkz right now is max Tar Bomb, 1 in Strafe, and then you max Strafe and you keep Deathpact in 1. What Gunnar is doing in this game is that he's basically putting 3 points in it just so he can take every jungle creep there is. It also gives you 2 charges of it, which is good. But here, he scouts a centaur and he kills it, and that's massive. Like, that's a lot of farm for Clinkz right there. And this is what I said was gonna happen, you know? Like, we now have a bounty that sits here with a vanguard. He can't be killed. He's way too tanky. Arc Warden can't do anything about that. Even with Elder Titan, he's mega tanky. So now, Clinkz has been afforded the luxury to just do stuff like that and basically kind of like, not really farm, you know, but, you know, get a little bit on the side. And that's massive. And it's gonna obviously pay off. Here we see. Playing aggressive. Now, there's gonna be a bit of a pause here, but they are basically going to dive on Yuragi here in a moment. I'm gonna skim past the pause here a bit as well as we can. There's gonna be 2 pauses, in fact, and you can see they're gonna dive on him. Ember's here. And there's gonna be another pause. Yep. Gonna skip past that. Do you think Yuragi dies? The answer is yes, he very much does die. Right. And the game continues. So, here's the thing. And now we transition into this interesting game plan I really am here to talk about regarding Clinkz. Also, we see his tower damage is pretty good. We see that Gunnar is going to, well, first and foremost, he's going to start farming just a little bit. He's going to go for his wisdom first, though. But he is going to now put 3, or, you know, 1 more, so that's 3 in Deathpact. And this is a unique aspect, because it now is 4, 5, 6 creep max level. The difference here is that a Satyr, that's this guy here, you know, the purple man, he is level 6 and a Centaur is 5. So before he couldn't take a Satyr, this guy, which is 6, Tormentor, and now he can. So now there isn't a single jungle creep that he cannot eat, on top of having 2 charges. So now what Gunnar is going to do is that he's going to proceed to go into enemy jungle. And again, he could have taken a Mud Golem, but he intentionally goes for a Centaur. He basically has like a pocket Midas now, which is really smart. And it's good because, like, did they win the lane? They went even, like, sort of, it was okay. Like, yeah, it was rough in the start, especially because Gunnar died twice. But it lets him really quickly come back in the game regardless. And if you're ahead already, it lets you get, you know, further ahead, which is never bad. Let's see here. Now he is going to farm here. And again, this is a massive part of this game in general. He is spending a lot of time in this game on enemy side farming it. So he's not taking farm from his carries. He is actually impeding the enemy's ability to be in their own jungle because he's constantly eating creeps there and then he like rushes away, which is very powerful. Now they are going to go in here on ET. Slow down a bit here, as you can see. Lots of damage. Very annoying to play against. And again, you can just see that medallion really coming in. And yoink. There's also Tar Bomb there, of course. Ember does die, and now he's level 6, which is massive. He does return on Wind Raider here, and here you can see, it's really annoying. And now, this is where Clinkz really comes into a hole with Skeleton Walk, because he basically, pretty much like, you know, Ricky has the same kind of timing at level 6. Nyx too. They start becoming really annoying at this time because you now need to toll sentries everywhere. He can kind of just come from wherever he feels like. We're going to see him just do that. Now there's going to be a fight up here in just a moment, and nobody's actually going to go down. You can see here, and again, that's a stack. He just eats a creep, and it's annoying. Now it is worth mentioning that as much as you do put points in Deathpact, there's no real need to put like a 4th point in it, because the max charges remains at 2, and it's not like the creep max level increases. Not that it would matter, because you can't eat, you know, ancient creeps. It's pretty much only for the health you would get another level in it, because the cooldown doesn't go down either. So, you know, it's gonna be a bit of engagement here, and we're basically gonna see this a lot in this game where the majority of Gunnar's gameplay in particular is basically going to be him running around and playing around bounty. Which is honestly how I think you should play around Clinkz as well. You should pretty much play him aggressive, farm enemy creeps where you can, and then wait for setup / set something up depending on what heroes you have on your team. And Gunnar does a really, really good job of it. Really, really think this hero is going to shine through. And given that he hasn't been picked given that he hasn't been picked in Berlin, you can also expect this hero to be buffed. So if you are interested in picking Clinkz, let me tell you, there's a good chance, he is going to become even stronger. Let's see. Look at this damage here. Now, it's worth mentioning that Putch does only have 2 armor, so that's -6 because of the the medallion that he is carrying around. So that's -4 armor. So he's literally taking more than pure damage from these sources. So that's why that hurts so much. And see, like I said, him and Bounty are just a unit in this game. They're just walking around together, as they should. So here we have a bit of an unfortunate circumstance because they want to kill Yuragi. And I'm not sure if Yuragi has figured out that he's tracked. He probably has. Maybe it's hard to say, right? But he is hiding himself in the right place. Now, Bounty comes in here. Now, the sad part is, so does Gunnar. But as you can see, he's kind of like, oh, he can't get in on him. And that is a very late sticky tar bomb. And sadly, both of them are actually going to die. Which is such a shame because Bounty was probably still going to die. But if Gunnar had come up to the right, he definitely would have gotten a kill on Yuragi there. Little bit of like misplay. It happens to all of us, and it looked more than anything like he was just being messed over by the pathfinding. Ember does clean up though. Ember also playing good in this game, but we're not focusing on Ember. We're focusing on Mr. Bounty. Not Bounty, sorry. Clinkz. Clinkz and Bounty. Like I said, they're practically a unit in this game. Respawns. Again, he is going to be skulking around more. And see, running. Looking, is there any hero up here? It's so smart. He's giving his team so much vision. Eats that. It is also worth mentioning that the skeletons that you spawn are worth 20 gold a pop. So it's not too wise to just leave them out there too much if you can help it. Goes in here, and again, he really is playing around where Bounty is. And he is going to get slept. But Bounty has a lot of damage. And again, that medallion. And it really, really fits him really well. It's also kind of why we see this medallion into phylactery play. As you can see, the Valor is coming. Sorry, Solar Crest. I call it Medallion of Valor all the time. Solar Crest is coming in, and it gives him, minus armor, and it gives him mana regen. And one of the things that they mainly changed about Clinkz is that the mana he uses for his abilities is very, very low now. So you just need to be roughly 5+ mana regen, which you will reach with these items, and you can pretty much keep yourself perma-invis and just being on the field a lot. So even if you aren't actively killing anyone, you have the ability to give a lot of intel to you and your teammates, which is really, really powerful. It is also why we see Phylactery. It's an extra slow, and it gives even more mana regen. It's very, very good. Let's see, keep moving here. Now there's going to be a hook on Ember, and an interesting fight starts. I can see here. Again, these two just moving together. Trying to get something done. Now Ember's going to be here. And this is where the fun starts. He gets hooked. We see Clinkz coming in, and again, that fucking Valor. Keep saying Valor. So that's Solar Crest. Medallion of Valor. That's Solar Crest. Really coming in. You can see the damage really popping off here. He comes out, and he heals. Worth noting here is that he heals off of his own skeleton, which is a possibility. You cannot eat your own creeps with Deathpact. That would be broken, because you would win lane, because you would just keep eating your own creeps, Enigma style, which they nerf for good reason. So you can't do that. But you can eat enemy creeps, you can eat neutrals, and you can eat your own skeletons. Eating your own skeleton will actually refresh. Well, it will not necessarily refresh, but it will replace it with the skeleton itself. And the beautiful part is that he is healing for 325 when he does it. So Clinkz has a lot of healing. Like, it gives him a health buff, and it heals him on top of it. So, don't think Clinkz is this weak, cannot take any punishment hero. He is surprisingly tanky. Again, stays with his team here. Stays high ground. Very aggressive. You can see the damage, it really is there. And X is a particularly tanky target, but... See the cute shot here coming in from Ghost Lady. Very, very long fight. But they do end up getting X. And there you can see that's a longer fight. Now, fights are going to start looking faster and faster the moment Gunnar starts really racking up the kills. He becomes very, very powerful in this. And that's kind of like the beautiful part. Winner is going to eat dust here, but he wasn't really part of it. Very, very close. He transitions into being this kind of like core. And again, a lot of 4s kind of do that, but holy moly, dude. Clinkz is, yeah. The amount of tower damage you end up doing in a game with him, even if you play him as 4, is ridiculous, let alone hero damage. And you're so obnoxious to fight into as well. And again, I personally find his laning stage really, really good. Wisdom. Actually something you're going to see by a lot of good 4 and 5 players. They're going to be very, very intent on getting those runes. And why not? There was a lot. So here you can see, again, like I said, he's going to leave Deathpact at 3. He has 3 in Sticky Tar. Sorry, I call Sticky Tar still. Tower Bomb. And Strafe at 1. And Strafe has really, really good like level scaling, but 1 in it is pretty much enough. It buffs you and your skeletons. So you combine it with Tower Bomb and you essentially have old, you know, Searing Arrow combo with Clinkz. So you hurt a lot. It's also kind of why you want at least 1 level in it. Again, skulking. And he's going to even Ranger now. He's going to go up here and help his teammate. And see here. There we see the medallion coming in. And the damage is there, right? Like, this is a position for Clinkz. And it's not a particularly fat one either, is it? Like, he's 2 levels below Wind Ranger. And he still fucking just destroys her like that. And now he's level 9. And that's pretty much like what his game plan is going to be now. He's just going to skulk around together with Bounty Hunter, eat the occasional creep, and just getting solo hero kills. He's a big threat right now, because he could kind of show up from pretty much anywhere. Sees Axe, as you can see, coming in, Ember, really, really well. It should also be said, obviously, that the teammates that he are playing with are playing very, very well around what he's doing as well. Now here we're going to see again what I was talking about. He's going to invade into enemy jungle, and I can't stress enough how good this actually is. Just going into enemy jungle and farming here, and just being obtrusive. Now there's I don't even know what to call it. We have a lot of good sayings and, you know, terms in Dota. I almost want to coin a term for like using your time as a player to farm enemy side and take resources from them. And we see Gunnar do that pretty much all game in this. It's really, really good because he's not impeding any of his own cores, and he's getting stronger, and he's taking farm from the enemy. And Clinkz is like such a good hero to do it with as well. Like, you have heroes like Slark, they're really, really safe during nighttime because you can see if anyone sees you, you have a crap ton of night vision. Clinkz is kind of like the same in the sense of like he can just be very, very safe and still get away. Not guaranteed, obviously, but you know. It's very, very safe compared to other heroes to just run in and do that. So he's skulking. Oh boy, he's skulking. And there's going to be a fight here, and Wind Ranger is going to eat a bit of a lot. You can see the damage really coming in here. And of course, it is a bit annoying that he doesn't have an MKB, but he is not a core Clinkz. It's also only 60 minutes. So 2 kills. And again, eats his own creep. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You're just literally refreshing it. Sticky Tar from a distance. So far, it's not looking like he does too much. He is like 339, it's good. But, you know, it only gets better and better. And you have to remember just how much Solar Crest does now. It's a wonderful item. Like, being able to, like, minus armor that much is insane. So you are really doing it much. Pudge still only has 2 armor, so, you know, whenever he gets Solar Crested, he takes way more than pure damage. So, you know, Axe is only at 10, so you're taking the majority of his armor away. Like, he is doing a lot whenever he shows up. even if his skeleton archers aren't too powerful yet. Again, same thing, moves down here, takes a little bit of farm, runs away. We see this a lot. And the beautiful part here is, if Yuragi, Arc Warden, comes up here, he's like, oh, damn it. And he has to farm that because it has to be cleared. But now the big creep is gone, and that's annoying. Because that's the biggest bounty. That's kind of the reason why he goes up there. Like, yeah, he wants the entire camp, but with one of them being dead, that's really, really annoying. So you can really, really handicap your enemy by consistently doing that. And it's just frustrating. Furthermore, like, if you are actually behind as Clinkz, you can really still, like, the enemy will usually play very aggressive on your side. And then you can run behind on their lines and farm there very safely. Or, you know, push creep waves so they can't push very easily. There's so many options for this hero. It's nice. Let's see here. He's going to get Phylactery here in a moment. And this is what I call the... Well, how should I put it? It's like the now you are ready to play the hero kind of. This is like the... Bam. It's basically the anti-mage BF manta. Like, this is it. Like, this is feels like right now what should be the trifecta of items you need. You need boots, you need crest, and you need Phylactery. And then you kind of just want to win the game. And anything here after basically is just a bonus. And he's going to go Desolator. Now I speak from experience when I say that people will flame you when you go Desolator on Clinkz 4. It's good. It's really good. It literally plays really freaking well around Solar Crests because you will do so much minus armor to the enemy. You're just a threat and you will take out towers so freaking fast. So don't hesitate to do it. It's really, really good. Let's see here. There's going to be a fight here starting up in just a moment. Let's see. It is also important I mentioned that you cannot spawn multiple versions of skeletons from the same skill. And what I mean by that is that Skeleton Walk is 2, 3, 4 skeletons. So he just spawned 2 here. If he refreshes his Skeleton Walk, so like if he emerges, he spawns 2. And if he re-emerges, like he Skeleton Walks and then disappears again, and then re-emerges, he'll replace those 2 with another 2. He cannot like instantly make 4, basically. But he can make 1 more from Deathpact. So basically you can have a total of your Skeleton Burning Army, your Skeleton Walk, and your Deathpact. And that's the exact amount of skeletons that you can have. You should be able to, no, not should, you are able to. I have actually tested this in the past. You can have a refresher, you can have a refresher start, and you can do 2 burning armies, but you cannot multiple of these. Just so you don't emerge here and like redo Skeleton Walk. We're not going to see Yuragi do that either. Here we see the annoyance of being unable to hit. But Ember, it really is playing good. And again, look at that distance. It's very, very far and it's annoying. And it's a lot of slow. Like, remember that this is a slow and it lingers on top of it. So that's 25. And then on top of the Phylactery, slow / damage. It's really, really hard to get away from Bounty. Sorry, Bounty. Clinkz. He's really, really good at that. And such a distance, he's so safe on top of already being so tanky. Like, he almost has 2k health here on top of having, 19 armor. It's a lot. Watch out, Bone Boy. Right? So he's going to get a kill on Butch here, and Gunnar is going to, as we say in the business, fucking die to Yuragi. It's going to go fast too. Let's see how much damage that comes in here. He's going to get absolutely demolished by Arc Warden. That's a strong hero too. I'm going to speed up a little bit here. Not too much happening while he's dead. And he is looking around. Again, in every LfP, as I call this series, Learn from Pros, in every single one of these, I think, without fail, all of these heroes do this. I mean, I guess they are heroes. All of these pro players do the same thing of panning their camera around on the map when they are dead to find out what's happening and where do I go next. Really, really important. They're gathering intel. He's coming in. Now, there's going to be an engage on ET here in a moment. There's going to be a lot of damage here. And again, I think like this has to be like, well, first and foremost, this entire triangle is just like, that's his home, basically, Clinkz. But this camp in particular, holy hell, he has just eaten so many creeps from that. We have seen like Uragi farm down in the map. Let's see here. If we take a slow look at that distance, I'm actually gonna like rewind that for you. Look at that one more time. So much slow. So if we slow down here, avoids the a little bit bugged Bone Boy. See here. Look at how far away. Whew! Plonk. It's a lot of slow. It's a lot of slow. And it's actually not even his team that will kill him, it is straight up Gunnar's damage. So now we're really starting to enter that scary Clinkz territory where he's capable of doing this. There's gonna be an X call. And again, he's doing a lot of damage, and he's annoying. He's basically already now transitioned into being like I want to say a semi-core. Keeps up the pressure, Pudge dies as well. Again, they are so scary to fight into now. Absolutely. Now, they are going to go back here. And Gunnar is going to go for Roche here in just a moment. And interesting part here is that you're going to see a little bit of Roche tech, basically. And before I saw this game initially, because I've seen it once, I didn't know this was a thing. So you're about to see something I at least didn't know when I initially saw, and it's interesting. And it's that Gunnar's going to not solo it, but just a moment, you're going to see that the skeleton archers are actually going to tank a lot. Like a lot. You can see? He spawns a new one. There's so many strikes. The majority of them is focused on the skeleton archers. Now, he is going to change his thing here onto Murta, but that is the majority of his strikes has basically landed on skeleton archers. So, Clinkz is extremely good at taking Roche. So much so that if you were really, really stacked, like if you had a Deso, there's a good chance you could actually do it solo. Especially like a little bit later in the game. Absolutely, it'll take a little bit without your team. Wisdom, again, he really likes that in this game. Now he's just gonna kind of run around more, waiting for a moment to do something. Gonna speed it up a little bit. There's a lot of these like empty rooms in pretty much any game, even pro games. You can see he's heading towards up. Again, he still wants to play around bounty, but you know, it depends. Again, eats. And it would be preferable if he has a Deathpact within the fight itself. So there's going to be something here. You can see Emperor's being gone on. It sucks. And Gunnar's contemplating it. Now we are going to have a thing here. You're going to see him go on Pudge in particular. So Pudge is here. They saw that and he knew. Throwing out the confetti. So Pudge goes in, which is risky because you're going to see here. Watch this. Just, ooh, look at that damage. Look at that damage. Ooh, Clinkz is really coming into it now. See, when Rainier goes on him, he doesn't care. Look how tanky he is. Runs away, re-engages, perfect, no problem. Again, eats his own skeleton to get more healing. And like I said earlier in the game, you can now see he has only 3 in Deathpact, and he has 4 in Tar Bomb, and he has 4 in Strafe. That is what I would wholeheartedly recommend. Now, whether or not you want to get 3 in Deathpact like Gunnar, I think that depends on you as a player and on the game itself. We will see as the hero develops. It's definitely a viable build, you know. All the same. See Bounty having a hard time. It's got to be careful because Uragi really does do a lot of damage in this. A lot. Let's see here. There's going to be some damage on Pudge again because Ember gets hooked. And now we can really see. ET goes down, Pudge goes down, EC. So much damage from Clinkz. Again, he's just so scary now. So like now if we look here on the list, you can now see Gunnar is a position for Clinkz that died twice in the early game. He's now level 15, he's 6'4", 15. The only one that's higher than him on enemy team is Uragi at, 17. So, has he made it back in the game? Well, yes. And he's basically become like a semi-position 1-2. And it feels like this is what Clinkz does. You can play Ricky 4 as well. Pudge 4, like I mentioned earlier, like Pudge Mirana 4. Mirana's fine. Pudge, there's a reason why people don't like playing with Pudge 4-5, but it doesn't have to be bad, you know? But Clinkz certainly will transition into feeling very much like a core, because he just scales really, really, really well. A plethora of tower damage, a plethora of hero damage is just solid, you know? Really like this hero. Like I can't stress that enough. He's so interesting with this rework. It's by far the most interesting hero this patch, I think. So we are going to have him here. Fight breaks out here in a moment. And again, he skulks, checks around, goes to the camps, checks where's his like favorite creeps. There's his favorite camp. We've been through this. Gotta take it, dude. It's so annoying to play against. Like, it really is. There is nothing worse than you being a carry and you're trying to like go in and farm efficiently, and then, you know, all the big creeps are gone. It's so annoying. Mirana will do exactly the same thing with her arrow. It's stressful. So there's gonna be a fight here, as you can see. They're all smoked. He's keeping himself on the outer edge, and as you see, they find Uragi. And he comes in. Axe comes in as well. A lot happening. He goes straight in for it. Let's see, they completely obliterate. That wasn't necessarily really Uragi. Windraider. He's going to be snapped up too, and you know, even Pudge is going to end up going down as well here, because he tries to save Windraider. So much damage on Clinkz. And again, you can see Gunnar really isn't afraid of pushing the limits here. Look at that freaking slow. It's so good. It's so good. It's such a long distance. I suppose I imagine more cast range on that. You could do that by getting a lens, but don't go that far, please. And here we see, and this is sad because I actually really, really wanted to show off just how much damage you can pump out. But yeah, they do rightfully remove the ability to do so there. It's going to go up again here. And here you go. Now it's worth mentioning, when you press strafe, you give all the boys around you strafe as well. And here we get to see just how much damage. Like, Ember isn't even hitting that. That's all Clinkz, baby. Like, Clinkz is like a freaking pocket lichen. It's insane. Do not let this hero near your towers at this stage of the game. Do not. If you can help it. He's gonna get gone on. And this is interesting positioning. Again, very aggressive by Gunnar to do this, but again, he's willing to trade himself for Uragi, which is smart, and he is going to die, but it is worth it. And I'm gonna mention this is in the post review as well. That selfless playstyle of Gunnar there is amazing. He knows how much Uragi is worth, and he's willing to trade his own life for Uragi, which is cool, and it's obviously worth it, and is admirable, because a lot of people in Dota are afraid of committing to things because they might die, and that is the nature of this game. You're probably going to die, and depending on what you die for, it's okay. In this case, hell yeah, it's okay. He's trading for Uragi. Uragi is the only major threat on their team. So if a position 4 Clinkz, albeit a very farmed one, can trade himself 1-for-1 for a Arc Warden, why wouldn't he do it? And the answer is, well, he would do it. He did it because he's smart. I'm saying Gunnar is a good player. So he's going to casually solo the box. That's what I've heard people in pubs call it, the Tormentor. And this is actually neat. I've realized you can do this yourself, and you can do that by basically healing off of your skeletons, as you can see here. Now, sadly, he isn't going to get strafe. He still gets strafe. He gets Burning Barrage if he gets the shard, but no, he didn't get it. And again, he is only bottom 2, so it could have gone to him, right? But it does go to Venno. So that's a shame. Back here. Moving some more. And again, the game is mostly, like, again, there's a huge lead. I say it's over. It's not really. Like, they're against Uragi Arc. And this game, you know, meta is it's very one-sided on average, but still, you know. Find Axe. You can see here his damage really is going to start showing. And worth mentioning here is that skeleton archers are their own identity. So Axe can blade mail all he wants. That will not kill Clinkz. Annoying. There you go again. That's his own side, even. But he probably thinks nobody's going to be up there, which is true, because why would they not just put the hurt on the enemy here? Again, he's going to acquire a bit more wisdom here in a moment. He wants to be wise as hell. He fucking loves wisdom runes. That's his third one this game. They're worth a lot, dude. Look at this. Almost level 18. It's crazy. Definitely want to hunt for them if you can. We're going to see something here. I finally get to show off the tower damage I was speaking about. I'm actually going to slow down a bit here. He's going to go for this tower. And we're really going to see it coming in handy here in a moment. So he does hide himself here. And it goes down there. So here we're going to see, I'm going to slow down here. Notice how quickly that goes down. Now there is a Muerta as well, and she does an unprecedented amount of tower damage as well, but look at Clinkz. It's just, whew, it's crazy. You will definitely find yourself in games if you play Dota for a longer period of time. I want to say like, give or take 6 or 8 years. Old Clinkz was pretty much that. He could basically just, in late game, he could run up to towers and solo them. He can very much do that now. You need to be very, very, very on point. You luckily have more glyph now than before. Fine Twin Ranger. She is clearly giving up, pretty much. You can see how much damage there is. It's just no contest. That was pretty much solo. Just a casual position 3 Clinkz. Now level 18. If we compare, he's only 1 level behind Yuragi now. And as you can see, like, this game pretty much is just, it's over at this point. It's like they're just fluffing around. Unless Yuragi can do something amazing, nothing's ever gonna happen here. His gold is really, really high. See Yuragi here. Waits very patiently. Interesting part here is that he's actually going to go slightly before bounty and just notice how much damage he does to Yuragi. He's farming here. It does bubble, and there you go. Look at the damage already. So much damage from Clinkz. So much minus armor. He even has Orb of Destruction. So it's just like so many sources of minus armor. He takes so much damage. Let's see here. He just fucking dies. So that's fucking great. He didn't even really need bounty. He just soloed Arc Warden just like that. And that's it. If you're ever in this position against Clinkz, you're probably screwed. Because it's a position 4 Clinkz, and he's turned it into a goddamn position 1 too. And he keeps having pressure. He keeps walking around. He keeps giving intel. He's a threat, and he can take towers down really, really well. If there ever is a fight he wins, remember that his ult only has 15-second cooldown. Unless he literally has no mana, nothing prevents him from just doing another Burning Army and just... I mean, Burning Army technically is his scepter, but you know what I mean. Nothing prevents him from spawning 4 skeletons and just taking out a tower or barrack of his choice. It's scary. And here we can see he's going to move around, and we're going to see a solo kill on ET. Just to drive home how good this hero is at this stage of the game. And again, I said I don't even think you need the Deso. Like, not that Deso is bad. I definitely would build exactly the same way Gunnar is doing. But it's more like he was online the moment he had these 2 items in particular. Let's see, he's going to go in on ET. And ET is going to, as we say, fucking die real quick. And how much armor does ET have? ET has 7 armor. And then it's minus Deso, minus Solar, and minus Orb of Destruction. It hurts. It hurts. It is way more than pure damage. And that's from Clinkz himself and all his boys and Clinkz being strafed for 260 attack speed, albeit only for 3.5 seconds. But still, that's enough to obliterate anyone, even Yuragi. It's gonna get punched too. I mean, why not? Also, this is seeming to fall out a bit of favor now. Let's see, he even gets tipped. It's falling out a bit of favor now. The skeleton archers in Clinkz is in possession of, they are tied to the attack range he currently holds. So if you extend your attack range by any margin, so that's, you know, Growbow for an example, or if you buy a Dragonlance, that will work on the archers. I mentioned this because it's worth mentioning, but we don't really see it as much. I've seen some people experiment with putting just a casual Dragonlance, but again, it really does feel like Phylactery plus Solar Crest is just... It's kind of become like the default thing people go to because it's just what you need. But there are definitely times where if you emerge from your skeleton walk at an unfortunate position, you can put your boys in a situation where they can't hit barracks or buildings or people, and that can suck. So having a Dragonlance can help fix that, but hasn't really happened in this game for Gunnar. And see the damage. It's just a lot. As soon as he solar crests, they just die. Good item, yeah. Very good item. Ember in a little bit of trouble. Sorry, Ember. Bounty. He runs back here. But again, like I said, they could die probably 2 times over. Given the state of this current patch, they're not losing this. You know that, and I know that. I'm just here commentating over how fun and interesting Clinkz actually is. And again, it bears repeating, this is a position for Clinkz. And it's only a 30-minute game. And he is looking like a fine-ass hard carry to me. That's for sure. So they're gonna go Roche, just so they can put an end on this game. Like I said, if you can look at the enemy, you can look at how they move. Pretty sure Uragi might be the only one actually trying at this point. Because like, what else are they gonna do, right? We're pretty much gonna fast forward most of this at this point. He did not eat from that creep camp this time. And you see here, this is actually interesting though. So he is going to do what I personally do a lot in my pubs. And this is honestly a testament to how fucking smart Uragi is. And this is just like thumbs up to him. He's waiting for him. So if you've ever watched the show Dexter, this is very much what we call a surprise motherfucker moment. Because he did not expect that. Absolutely not. Fucking just, Jesus Christ. Holy hell. That was really, really, really smart by them. A good laugh all around. But let me tell you, if that had been a solo Clinkz, he would absolutely have just demolished that tower. It's insane. So we're basically going to speed through this. Like, again, they're going to win. I wanted to focus on Clinkz and Gunnar. Even without him, they're really, really strong. It's just that with him, they're even stronger. That's pretty much it. We're going to force ahead here. He's going to respawn. And he does have cheese. Not that cheese would have helped him before. Sees Wind Ranger. Again, just because he can, he now has Monkey King Bar. Funny part here is, look how quickly she just gets demolished. Like, Muerta doesn't even get to help him. He literally does more damage than Muerta right now. I say that... it depends. They both do a crap ton. They're basically both Muerta. Let's put it that way. We have 2 bone dudes. Just so scary. But yeah, he started off by dying twice, yet he's looking so powerful. Just by virtue of playing aggressively around on the map, farming enemy side, and playing around his bounty. But you could look at this game and be like, oh, it's because he got comeback gold from bounty kills. It's like, that helped, sure, but no. It's equally that he was actually farming back in, I say farming, but he was like getting the occasional creep back in the, to get back in the game, and then he was actually accomplishing a lot with killing people and just giving intel. Just his damage out of control. And here we see, hallelujah, here comes the tower damage. Actually a bit weird here how they didn't focus. I swear to God, there's a slight amount of bugs with the burning archers here and there. It's, you know, it's Valve, so. He could press alt here to spawn skeleton archers if he wanted. Very, very nice dodge on Axe. Again, the game is over. He's gonna do it, and you can see just, Jesus, even if he isn't actively hitting. Eats his own skeleton. Eats cheese. Survives. He still has a charge, so even if she kept going, he could still have eaten one more. And that's pretty much the game. We can pretty much speed through the rest of it here. So that's Clinkz. A very, very rambly video on him, I know. It's kind of how I tend to do these things, because they're very, very casual. It's just me kind of going through casually a game. But I can't recommend him enough. As someone that has played Dota for a very, very, very long time, at this point, he's just extremely fun. I actually want to go as far as to say I think Clinkz is the most fun I've had with any one hero. Just look at that damage. He's probably the most fun I've had with any one hero in the game for like ever since 719, and that's when I played a whole lot of anti-mage. If you remember his old Aghanims, that was a hoot and a holler. But no, Clinkz is really, really, really fun right now. I didn't know what to feel about him at first, but I can safely say I personally really, really like how he feels and how he plays. Is he gonna get reworked again? Almost, most definitely. But as it stands, I highly encourage you to check him out and test him. And Again, there's a lot to be, you know, unburied about this hero right now because people are playing it in various roles, with various items. We don't even know if this is like the finalized version of playing him. All we know right now is that this certainly works. And I mean, more than anything, this is also why I wanted to make this video. Gunnar shows off here how good it is. And this is off of a game where he started off very, very poorly initially. So very, very cool. Let's see, put a lid on it. See how quickly that falls. It's just ouch. Not that Mark Warden, huh? Oh well. Poor Yoragi. I have one more? Yeah, it wouldn't be Arc Warden without that. And there we go, there's the game. So he's going to end the score with, or end the game rather, with a score called 13-7-27. Pretty damn good. Now, let me go into the post-game summary where I mention briefly a few things that Gunnar did very well, in particular 3 things. Let's do it. Let's go over 3 things that are particularly worth mentioning in Gunnar's gameplay. Gunnar doesn't shy away from farming what is on the enemy side of the map. He even went as far as to level 3 into his Deathpact by level 5, just so that he could be more obnoxious and achieve more farm. This method of applying pressure and taking enemy resources is very powerful when used right in a Dota game. At several points in the game, it's obvious that Gunnar is going to die if he goes in, even if the outcome is for the best of the team. And he does it anyway. A lot of people are afraid of dying, even if it favorably increases their chances of winning the game. And we see Gunnar not hesitating putting his neck on the line for a favorable fight. Most of Gunnar's movement in the game had him running around and planning ahead of what his team was doing, in particular with Bounty Hunter. Being able to do this correctly can have a huge payoff. And with Clinkz being almost constantly invis as the game keeps going on, it means he's extremely good at setting things up. That's it for the video. I hope it gave you some insight on Clinkz as a hero, and perhaps even inspired you to test him out for yourself. Good luck with your games in the 733 Dota environment. Until next time.